So what do you consider school culture in your opinion?
Like the definition of school culture?
Or is your definition of school culture what you would consider school
I'd say the dynamic of interactions between students and teachers.
How much fun someone's having in school based on school sanctioned events, I guess. The overall spirit of a school and the overall friendliness of the people.
School culture. So school culture is probably, well, I mean, if you're talking about like high school culture.
Yeah, I mean, like high school culture.
Okay, so just generally like different like events and different themes that happen in high schools pretty much generally everywhere in the United States. So I'm thinking like probably prom, different like senior skip day kind of things, you know, things that like you'd see in movies or something. So that's what I consider high school culture.
I say the culture is very divided. Like not in a bad way, but in a good way. Like people may have their own cliques and stuff, but in the end of the day, everyone knows everyone, and they're all happy that they know each other and stuff. So.
That's a tough question.
Yeah. I'm gonna let Tommy take this one.
Yeah, you know, I think that school culture is how all the students interact with themselves and how they view the school and the life and the community that Newton North has, and we can all bring together.
And what do you...
Building off of what he said, I think it's the kind of community that students build for one another, the way we treat each other, the way, you know, he pretty much said it all, I think. It's hard to beat that one.
School culture kind of just representing North in a way and wearing orange and black and supporting your classmates and stuff and being there for each other.
I honestly think that it's a tradition that North provides. You know, like honestly, North wouldn't be like what it is today if it wasn't like for the students and stuff.
Yes.
Like you know, like six man and stuff and all the stuff that seniors do, like participate, especially like senior spring.
Yes.
Like it's really like what the students bring to the school that really creates the culture. I think without it, like Newton North wouldn't be like how it is right now.
The diversity.
Well, I would think that school culture is probably if there's something that always like recurs in Newton North or like in some school, like the Purge and that hangout area over there is one place. Main Street is a kind of gathering space, and then down there's other gatherings. I don't know.
They kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's what you make of it, right?
I personally tend not to like try to get into stuff like that because I believe that you know, like high school's too short to dwell on like how good or great or like how bad it is. I think like what you really want to do is just try to be happy and successful, and that's really like what high school's all about. Just to have fun, you know. Like,
Have fun, live life, be happy.
Just be happy. You know, there's like
positive.
you only have 4 years. There's no time to like think about the past or what's gonna happen in the future. Just like live in the moment, like right now. So.
That's him. Personally, I do feel like culture at Newton North has kind of went down and over the past couple of years. I feel like the culture in the old school was a lot more prominent and such. And when we got here, there's just too many rules. You know what I mean? There's just too many rules. We can't hang out on Main Street, which is kind of a shame.
It's Main Street.
And then in the library, there's too many rules. Like you can't talk too loud, or you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't know. In a ways, it's good, but I feel like it is going down. They need to stop being so strict on the rules.
And just let us have fun.
Yeah, live life.
As teenagers, as seniors, as juniors, as sophomores, as freshmen.
I'd say it's definitely gone downhill, and it used to be a lot more diverse. The higher grades, like when we started as a freshman, the higher grades used to be like a lot more diverse than us. Now, a lot of us do the same things. I think a lot of us I don't know, like we tend to copy each other. It's not really diverse anymore.
So in essence, everything is like uniform and not really like creative and all too.
Yeah, like people do have their creativity. Don't get me wrong, but there's no real like individuality, I think.
So in essence, everything is like conformity.
I think so. A little bit.
I think that there are elements that shouldn't be taken away, that kind of draw back from typical high school culture that you know, I maybe some things that I wish I could have experienced in high school, maybe if they'll come back. But I think also North has a pretty unique culture in and of itself. So I really enjoyed here, but there are probably aspects that have been taken away that really don't need to be, and you know, should be part of everyone's high school life.
Yeah, I mean, personally, people have their own opinions. I mean, I had a great year, and I think our culture was great, so that's all I can say about it. Like, people from past years may think that, like, we lost culture or because we changed schools and there's not as much freedom as there was, but, I mean, I had a great year and I had fun.
I'm a freshman, so from what I've heard, I think it's gone down a lot because I know they're outlawing, like, proposals and stuff next year on school property. So, I mean, I think overall it's gone down, but I think there's still a chance that it could go up again.
I didn't really see them before, so I don't really know much of a contrast, but I feel like it still has culture, but maybe not as much, but there's still some culture.
I think for the most part it's good. There are definitely aspects of it that could use improvement, but I think that like depends on individual relationships more. I think overall the culture is pretty good. It's definitely flawed, but I think all relationships between students, communities, teachers, etc. have issues.
I actually haven't been here very long. This is my second year, so I'm not sure how far it's come up or how low it's gone down, but...
Well, yeah, you know, I was around when the old school was here. You know, a lot of people talk about that having more culture, but heck, man, I think that the students make the culture, not necessarily the facilities. Obviously, there's the nicer facilities, and maybe the older facilities kind of cooler because it was kind of beat up. But I honestly think that this is better for our learning. It's more suitable, and I think that we can, you know, if the students really kind of buy into it all, that you know, it can really get back to the culture that we had, some say, lost.
While school culture is an important aspect of this school, it hasn't been at the forefront until recently. Back in April, Michael Bennington, a 2012 graduate, wrote a blog post arguing that recent changes in the school rules were hampering school culture at North. The post, in turn, led to a massive discussion not just by students, but also by the community. Fortunately, I was able to talk with Michael about his thoughts on school culture at North.
What is school culture in your opinion?
My school culture is everything that really makes up the school. A mix of sports, education, theater, arts, the whole mix, all of that together, bringing in one basic culture.
So how has school culture changed since you graduated from North?
Well, I think it's kind of more socially, I've seen. Everything else is pretty much expanding and getting bigger and better. Educationally, this is a great school, everybody knows that. Theater, arts, sports, there's so many opportunities here. Bunch of clubs. I just think socially it's changed with a bunch of extreme rules and just a lot of like governing almost and regulating how students live their lives.
Do you feel like there's been like certain factors that have led to this trend of over-governance and over-regulation of how the social aspects of this school works?
I think that nowadays you hear a bunch of court cases. Everyone's trying to sue whenever they get a chance, and North is very liable for a lot of kids, adults, and a lot of that can backfire on them. So they really want to try and stay away from anything that could cause trouble. So they're instituting a lot of rules that will help combat any crazy court cases or any problems within the school that would hurt the image.
I'm just curious to know what was a certain rule or like a series of rules that triggered you to write the article that you wrote about school culture?
Well, pretty much everything started once I transitioned to the new school. When we came to the new school, there was a bunch of rules and we lost Main Street from the old school. And that was when it was like socially crazy, because it was just a hallway with pretty much all the students on it, whether it be back hallways, but a main hallway where everyone could see each other, everyone walked by each other, everyone talked, you talked to people in different grades. Then we got to this school, and then you can see the grade segregation between everyone hangs out in different areas. It's almost segregated between social groupings, and everyone's in their own area, and if you go to that area, it's off limits. And so then they started, we lost that. So socially, it was kind of a bummer. And then they just would start instituting, we couldn't do certain things, we couldn't decorate our area that we hung out at. We couldn't hang out there at certain times. If we were ever there, we had to go to the library. So it was pretty much what's the point of this hangout spot? Why can't we meet up? We have to meet up in the library where we can't talk to each other. So it was just kind of those little rules that kept on coming with the new school. It was just a huge, drastic change. And then I live at home, not my college, and I hear my sister come home, oh, this is a new rule today, this is a new rule. And I was like, oh, they're just piling up these rules, let the kids live. And I just kind of wanted to voice my opinion on it and see how people reacted. And I got a lot of different reactions, because everyone feels differently about it.
So, do you feel like your article has brought this discussion within the school community about these overzealous regulations, and if there are better ways for the administration to respond to potential controversies instead of the way it's been doing so during the past few years and all too?
Well, I think that my article brought attention to parents and students in the new community. There's this website called village14.com, and their motto is a virtual Newton. And they actually posted my article, and I got about 50 comments from adults, people who have been on school committee, someone who ran for mayor. A lot of people, they all discussed solutions, and a lot of people agreed with what North was doing. A lot of parents were happy, yes, we want these rules, we want to keep our kids from drinking alcohol, et cetera. And then there was a lot of parents that were on the other side saying, hey, maybe we need to counsel them. Maybe we need to do parenting programs to figure out if this is a problem. And it brought up a conversation with adults. And then on my side, I got a lot of comments from people who have recently graduated Newton North, probably within the last 10 years. And I got another 50 comments on that. So it has brought attention, but I don't know if it's going to reach City Hall or school committee. I mean, it's only a former graduate's opinion. I don't know how far we will really go.
Okay. But do you feel like it's kind of begun that process by writing the article?
I think it's definitely brought light to some situations. Some people didn't know about these rules. Some parents didn't know about these rules. And it's something that everyone should know that's involved with Newton North. I mean, these are the rules that they're instituting, and everyone should have their opinion on it, Okay. I mean, I know it is their own institution, but people still have a right to voice their opinion.
Do you feel like there's one of the major problems with these new rules and all too is that it's really more of a communication issue between the administration and students, and how it's not really an issue about putting out these new rules and all?
Absolutely. I think that's why they have to make these rules, because there isn't communication between the students and administration, or at least not a communication that can take care of these problems. Because now they're just throwing all these rules out, and more people are just going to get in trouble, Then these students become afraid to talk to the administration because they feel like they can get in trouble.
So do you think maybe, I'm just going to be proposing something, a solution to this, but do you think maybe a forum for the faculty and the students to work closer together, do you think that would be more beneficial for the faculty student, for the administration student relationship, in order to avoid having to go through these excessive rules?
I think an increase in communication between the teachers and students would definitely be a better solution than just instituting a bunch of rules. These rules aren't going to be broken every day at school. At school, don't curse in the classroom. Obviously, you got to have that rule. You can't have people cursing in the classroom, and it's something that could happen every day. No cell phones during class. Obviously, that's a distraction during class, and it affects everyone. The rules they're instituting are selecting a certain group of people, and because they don't have the communication with them, so that these group of people are selected, and randomly one of them will get in trouble. And that's all this rule is going to do, is randomly get one student in a lot of trouble, maybe make a miss graduation, miss prom, instead of having communication and preventing these problems.
Do you feel like the way the administration is implementing these rules? Do you feel like it's more of a way for the administration to ignore the problem rather than to tackle these issues head on?
It is a great way for them to ignore the problem because they throw the rule on it that anything happens, oh, this person got in trouble. It wasn't allowed at school. So that takes any problems for them. They did whatever they could. They break up the fight. They said, oh, both people got suspended for fighting. We have a zero tolerance policy on fighting. So if people are about to get in a fight, they know that they're going to get suspended.
So in essence, I know you touched on this earlier, it's really more of like thinking in the moment rather than laying out a blank policy that may not be appropriate for the situation.
Yes, I think it's very important for New North to react to these very rare cases. All these rules that they instituted, it's rare for someone to get drunk on a limo. It's rare for someone to get in a fight in New North. It's rare for someone to be very intoxicated at a basketball game. So why don't they just react when this happens and have a certain way to react to these problems instead of just a black and white like law book that students are going to have to abide by.
When I talked with students about school culture at North, some students shared the same sentiments as Michael regarding lack of communication between students and teachers and the extremeness of the new rules.
Unless the school administration has pretty good reasoning to take them away, then I guess that's understandable. But I don't know. I feel like for some things, or the administration is being a little too cautious about it. So I don't know. But yeah, I think promposals are something that should definitely not be taken away from school.
Yeah, I think overall there'd be much more positive school culture if these rules weren't in place. I think that everyone would be getting along better, and overall motivation in classes and such would be better if these rules weren't in place.
I think one thing that I mean it's kind of cliche, but I think all communities could use more respect, mutual respect between just all layers of students, all sorts of people, and teachers too. I think sometimes there are students who disrespect teachers and teachers who disrespect students in return. I think that could always use improvement.